46 years old, and I don't have a husband to take care of me. I don't have a husband to help me get ready. I'm 46 years old and I still need my mama to take care of me post-op. I still need my sister, which whether I had a husband or not, they would be there. It sucks. Being single and 46 sucks.
All right, Shalom. This is your brother Nahalia from the GMS Orlando camp. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasher Allah. And a sincere salutation to all you Akim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwathium, who are believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. Yahweh is the name of the one they ignorantly call God. Yahweh Shai is the name of the one they ignorantly call Jesus. Bahashem is in the name. Rakah is spirit. Kodash is holy. Akyam is brothers. And Akwathium is sisters. All right. Shalom means peace. And Yasher Allah is Israel in the Paleo Hebrew. All right. This is 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 6. And it reads, "But she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth." Now, I wanted to highlight a point based on this clip that you just saw of this woman, speaking of her frustration being the age that she is and being without a husband. All right, because reality begins to set in. And really, this shows you that when you forsake the law, statutes, and commandments as a society and you're left to your own devices, the liberty that Esau has given women really destroys them. And a lot of times they don't find out until it's too late. At 46, as a woman, there's no man of marriageable age that would desire you at this point. Meaning there's no point of return for you. And this is the reality that Esau doesn't tell the women of our nation, Negro, Latino, and Native American women, who are the children of Israel. They don't tell them this part of the story. All right, they leave that part out because, again, you have to remember the serpent is more subtle than any beast of the field. All right. This is Isaiah chapter 24 and verse 5. "The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant." All right. And so everything is put out of whack. All right. What people call dating culture is really just domestic prostitution. You go out with a girl, you take her to Olive Garden 3 or 4 times. Y'all have sex for like 6 months. Then that honeymoon phase is over and then she on to the next one until she get too old to do that dance. And those dates start drying up and then they end up like this woman here. All right. And this is why the Lord set up our culture and our society completely different from this. All right. And I want to pull up this article from BibleOdyssey.org. All right. And it's entitled "Weddings and Marriage Traditions in Ancient Israel." Now, what I want to do is I want to point to the first paragraph and then I'll jump down. I'm not going to read this entire thing. All right. It says here, "Marriage in ancient Israel was very different from marriage today. Although there's a great deal we do not know about Israelite marriage, the biblical texts that speak about it tell us that many Israelite marriage customs were unlike those of modern Western societies." Why? Because I'm going to get straight to the nitty gritty. All right. Women married young in the ancient world. All right. And a lot of times they married men who were older. All right. And those marriages were arranged by the father. Now, in this society, a woman can pick her husband, so to speak. Really, she doesn't. All right. She gets the man that chooses her to marry her, who's willing to marry her, and he'll ask her to marry her. And usually these marriages happen late at age. And the women that are involved in these marriages in the Western society are not virgins. The scriptures speak about a woman being a virgin when she enters marriage. The reason women are destroyed is because they've dealt with so many men that they can't really truly be married to one man at this point. All right, because at this point in the ancient world, you only knew one man, so you had nothing to compare it to. But when you have these women who go through this dating cycle, all right, live your best years, your youth years, when you're supposed to be giving birth to strong children, you're abusing your body with all of these different so-called options. And then by the time you get older, you know, your womb is compromised at this point. All right. And that's why the Lord set it up a certain way. Now, I want to jump down to this right here. All right. So we're going to deal with this third paragraph. It says this: in order to marry a girl, a man would give her father a gift called mohar in Hebrew that will seal the betrothal between the bride and husband to be. Betrothal was a much firmer commitment than today's engagement. Though some people think of the betrothal gift as a purchase price, this is inaccurate. Anthropologists call this gift bride wealth. It is found in many societies throughout the world and is not considered a sale by people in those cultures. Israelite wives were not thought of as slaves in biblical texts, though men sometimes did marry slave women. Some length of time after the betrothal, wedding festivities, often involving days of feasting, would occur. Now, I wanted to highlight something very important, and that was that the father ultimately decided who the woman would marry. All right. And this is done intentionally. All right. Because in that scenario, in that case, all right, the father of that woman, all right, would put her in the best situation possible for her to have a long lasting marriage with a house that was stable. OK, because marriages in the ancient world were more business oriented as well, outside of the whole just coming together part. It was about families being combined. All right. Maybe this household is a strong household in sheep. You may have a strong household in oxen. All right. You have a son at a marriageable age. And, that man with the sheep, he has a daughter at a marriageable age. And they come together and the fathers decide. All right. And the father of the daughter can take it or leave it. And if he decides to accept it, then she's betrothed to that son. And then in that marriage, those houses are now combined. In both houses, the father of the son and the father of the daughter are now literally invested in making sure that family works and they're able to stand on their own feet and they're able to contribute to both sides of the family. More so the father's household. Because the daughter or the bride to be, once she's married, she would actually move with her husband and she would actually stay at the father or the husband's estate, So when a woman married a man, she left her family and she went to that man's family because more than likely the husband had property on his father's land. All right, because that's how the ancient world worked. All right. Now, in this society, and the reason a lot of the women of our nation are destroyed is because we've lost away that arrangement. We've lost that custom. And because we've lost that custom, all right, a lot of our women are destroyed. All right, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 42 and verse 9. The father waketh for the daughter when no man knoweth, and the care for her taketh away sleep. When she is young, lest she pass away the flower of her age, and being married, lest she should be hated. In her virginity, lest she should be defiled and gotten with child in her father's house. And having an husband, lest she should misbehave herself. And when she is married, lest she should be barren. Keep a sure watch over a shameless daughter, lest she make thee a laughingstock to thine enemies, and a byword in the city, and a reproach among the people, and make thee ashamed before the multitude. See, to be a whore, all right, was a shame unto you. That not only made the woman a proverb and a byword, but it made her father also a proverb and a byword. In our society, we were set up so that it was shamed and scolded, all right? When you go into the law, if a woman wasn't a virgin and she married a man and it turns out that she wasn't a virgin, she would be stoned to death. All right, matter of fact, let's go into that. To show you the severity, the Lord didn't play with adultery, and all of these things that are going on that's normalized in this culture, the Lord didn't play this. If a woman was married to a man and she was found out to not be a virgin, she would be stoned to death in front of her father's house. And the Lord described it as putting evil away from Israel. Because women were not designed to do what they're doing right now. And this is why they end up at that age that that woman was at, miserable. And at this point, it's too late. There is nothing you can tell that woman to fix her situation. Her being 46 without a husband, whoever's left that's willing to take her, she's going to have to take it. And that is the reality for women who blow their youth in folly, man. And that's what Esau teaches our women to do, because really that just destroys Negro, Latino, and Native American households. And Esau knows this. That's why he promotes that kind of promiscuous culture amongst our people. All right, but let's go into the law real quick. All right, so this is Deuteronomy 22:13. If any man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her and give occasions of speech against her and bring up an evil name upon her and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid, then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate. Because in the ancient world, when you had a marriage in ancient Israel, you would have that festival, and then the bride and the husband would go into the bedchambers. And then once they had sex, the blood would be upon the sheet. And that blood on the sheet will be given to the father of the daughter or the bride as a receipt, as proof for scenarios or situations like this, where this man has taken this girl as a wife or this woman as a wife, and now he's given occasion to speak against her and say, look, I found her not a virgin. All right, verse 15 says, then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate. And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hateth her. And lo, he hath given occasions of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter a maid, and yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city. And the elders of that city shall take that man and chastise him. And they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver, and give them unto the father of the damsel, because he hath brought up an evil name upon a virgin of Israel. And she shall be his wife. He may not put her away all his days. But if this thing be true, and the tokens of virginity be not found for the damsel, then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones that she die, because she hath wrought folly in Israel, to play the whore in her father's house. So shalt thou put evil away from among you. All right, so these things were severe. All right, they were dead serious. And in this society, all right, a woman has been given liberty to gather abroad, and through that she's destroyed herself. And this is why you have women like this who are in their late age and they're crying on camera. All right, because they've been led to believe that being promiscuous and using your youthful years to just take every advantage and every advance from every man that's willing to take you out, that you like how they look, that before you know it, you get too old and men start to not want you. That's the deception. In the day of prosperity, there's a forgetfulness of affliction. And in the day of affliction, there's a forgetfulness of prosperity. She's not thinking about all of those dates that she had when she was 20 and 19 and 23. Because those years are behind her now. But Esau don't tell our women this part. And now she's saying she's 46 without a husband and she still got to depend on her mama. All right, when she gets sick. And this is why the Lord set it up this way. You got men in Israel who get offended at the marriage age and how the Lord set up certain things in marriages, because we've grown up in this Western society. But this is why the Lord set it up that way. A woman was supposed to grow up. She was supposed to have sex with her husband. He was supposed to have, he would have sex with her, take her virginity, so to speak. And that would be her husband. That would be her protector. That would be her provider. But Esau creates this consumer lust that the grass is always green on the other side. So women jump from one situation to the next. And when it gets too hard, they get an out because Esau supports and gives them liberty to jump in and out of relationships whenever they want to. In the ancient world in Israel, you had to deal with who you had to deal with. And that put a lot of this bullshit that's going on, excuse my French, from among us. A lot of things are started by adultery and just the defiling of marriages in general. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 24. Hast thou daughters, have a care for their body, and show not thyself cheerful toward them. Marry thy daughter, and so shalt thou have performed a weighty matter, but give her to a man of understanding. All right. So that's a weighty matter for a man in ancient Israel, because he knew at a certain point his child, all right, his daughter would get at that age where her body would literally start to desire to procreate, because that desire to have sex for a woman is really just her desire to procreate. But women in this society are not taught that. And this is why the scriptures talk about marrying your daughter, all right, when she's at that age, so she don't listen to her flesh and make her a shame unto herself and to the household. And you marry her so that she can now be in a situation where her natural carnal urges can be in righteousness. It could be fulfilled in righteousness, because that's meant for procreation, to create children, to create a nation of people. All right. The Lord describes the earth as when she was young, she gave forth her strength. All right. Matter of fact, I want to see if I can find that real quick, because women can be likened unto the earth as well. All right. Real quick. This is. Yeah. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 5. And I'm going to start at 51. He answered me and said, ask a woman that beareth children, and she shall tell thee. Say unto her, wherefore are unto they whom thou hast now brought forth, like those that were before, but less of stature? And she shall answer thee, they that be born in the strength of youth are of one fashion, and they that are born in the time of age, when the womb faileth, are otherwise. All right. Consider thou therefore also how that ye are less of stature than those that were before you. So when the Lord is talking to Esdras, he's telling him to ask a woman, if you have children, all right, why are these children right here different from the ones you had before? And she'll tell you that when she was in the strength of her youth, those children were one fashion. All right. And when the womb faileth, because again, women go through that menopause, and after that, there is no more children coming in after that. That's why what happened with Sarah was so powerful. OK, because she was up in age. But this is an example of why marriages were built and formulated in our society in the ancient world a certain way compared to the way that they are now. All right. And you can see the results. All right. The women of our nation are destroyed because ultimately they were created. All right. To be with a husband, to be with a man. All right. A man of their nation. And when they resist that urge and they just go on all of these little dates and have these little 6 month, 2 year, 3 year flings, eventually they get to that point where not only did the womb fail, but now they don't have a meaningful relationship with a man. And by then it's too late. You can go desperate mode and try to find somebody and force the issue. But at that point, it's really, realistically speaking, it's too late. And this is why the Lord had fathers arrange marriages for their daughters, to prevent these type of situations. This is Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 16. Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. All right. And again, the scriptures talk about the righteous being more excellent than their neighbor, but the ways of the wicked seduceth them. All right. When we tell our people how our customs are and how we're supposed to operate as a nation of people, they don't want to walk in that way. They want to walk in the way, in the fashion of this world. But they don't tell you about women like this, because she just had the guts, if you will, to get on camera and admit this. A lot of women are going through this in silence with their dog or their cat somewhere in a 1-bed or 2-bedroom apartment with the candles lit, and they know in the back of their head, like, wow, it's over with. And this is why the Lord gave us life when he gave us the law, statutes, and commandments, that even Israelites get offended at when they think about what the Lord told us to do and how he told us to do it. It's crazy, man. All right, but Lord willing, this was edifying. I just wanted to go into that because, again, this society has taught our people a way that's not right, man. It's death on every side. All right, and as much as the women have been given liberty, what they believe is freedom, it's really liberty to destroy themselves. Esau give them a better job and give them the ability to travel, and then they travel and give they body to all of these different guys, and then they get to an age where them niggas stop calling. And now you want a meaningful relationship, but that shit don't happen out of thin air. Not with the ones you want. And this is why the Lord had fathers arrange marriages at a young age. So when women get to that point where they desire to procreate, because that desire for sex for a woman is really her desire to procreate. Same for a man. Because sex was meant for us to have children. Not to bust in rubbers, excuse my French, and just, play this game, this domestic prostitution that everybody doing. It was meant to build a nation of people. But we've been removed far from our heritage. And Esau would love to have it so, because if we knew this and understood this, we would be more than we are now as a nation of people. The scriptures describe us as the sands of the sea. Imagine us following these laws, statutes, and commandments. All right. But that's going to happen in the kingdom. All right. When we're all put in our righteous state of mind through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai. But this is just one of many examples of how the earth is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they transgress the laws, man. And then when it happened to these women and it happened like this, there is no solution for her. There is no solution for women like her, because once you reach that age, that's a point of no return. When you talk about the womb having its strength, and then when the womb faileth, a lot of those children that come out with autism are children who are being had in a late term. All right, in a time where the womb is failing. But Esau not going to tell our people that. Because, again, he benefits from our people being destroyed, not strong, not together. All right, and ultimately the Lord did that because the Lord is only dealing with the elect. But this is just one of many examples of how judgment doth not go forth, and that a society has been created that ultimately destroys our people rather than build them up. All right, so Lord willing, this was edifying. With that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rukakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yashar Allah, and a sincere salutation to our Yuakim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Aquathium, who are believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. Shalom.